today's video, I am going to talk about the 7 brutal, honest advice I would give to my younger, poorer self. There is a saying, don't watch the clock, do what it does, keep going. Guys, before we move ahead, let me clarify, this video is not just any other video you see on YouTube, where you get those repeated tips on self-improvement and time management. We all have been seeing those kind of videos from years, but has anything changed? Did you overcome that procrastination? Without wasting any further time, let's start with my first advice to my younger self, which is stop labeling yourself. I'm weak in mathematics. I cannot wake up early in morning. Business, it's not my cup of tea. If I had a rich father, I could have done anything. Have you heard someone saying these kind of statements? Have you heard yourself saying any such things? Of course, yes. We have been doing it from childhood. And we are all suffering from this disease called excusitis, a condition where we have an excuse for just everything. I am a person who was born in a poor family where buying anything which was not required was considered to be luxury. Though I would say that I always had this entrepreneurial spirit within me, but I attached myself with many such wrong labels like, this business is not for people like me. I should not take big risk. I will not be able to do this, that, etc. And trust me, whatever I believe, I will not be able to do it. I actually was not. And what the antidote to this suffering? Well, it's simple. Stop labeling yourself. Do it quickly before your mental software becomes a hardware. Such label firstly change your behaviors and soon it changes the person who we were. It limits us from our endless potential to achieve big and best things in life. And only way to resolve this is identifying such labels. Start noticing actively what you're saying and correct those wrong assumptions. You can and you will do everything and with such positive affirmation. The second advice is don't do the things just for the sake of doing them. I remember that few years back I became a bookworm and I used to read lot of these self-help books from famous authors and everyone has their own ways and methods to make a good person. Now, I'm not saying these books were not of help. Of course, they have some role in making me who I am today. But to tell you the brutal thing, you don't need all these books. Let me clarify why I am saying so. If you have read any such book, you know that these books ask you to wake up early, maintain a journal, to-do list, spend time for gratitude, etc. But in your 20s, when you don't have anything to show for, what exactly will you write in those journals? It's like saying that since MS Dhoni uses a particular bat, if I also use the same bat, I will start hitting big numbers like him. And that's absolutely rubbish. You need to know what he was doing when he was exactly of your age in 20s, how much time he was spending practicing, how much time he was in gym, etc. And if that is what you follow, there may be chances that you become like him one day. So the point is, you don't have to follow morning rituals and do all those journal writing things if those are not adding anything in your life. Let it be for the CEOs and intellectual people, and you can do it when you really become one for whom those books were written. Choose wisely what you are consuming. Be selective because, as you will see in the next brutal advice, you have very limited time. My next advice is 30s is not the new 20s. Are you having this 9 to 5 job from Monday to Friday? Or do you know someone with such job? Surely you do. And if you talk to any of such person, the only exciting thing in their life is weekends. The only 2 days of the week, which gives them an opportunity to actually work for themselves. Now weekends, it's a relatively modern 100-year-old concept and I believe you must not waste them at least in your early 20s. These are the best time slots and extra edge which gives you an opportunity to beat the competition. There is this famous saying these days, 30s is new 20s, but I believe that it's an excuse to take 10 years longer to accomplish the same thing which you could do now. Are you not seeing kids as small as 15 or even 10 becoming rich, ultra rich from social media these days? So by the time these kids become of your age, they will already be in a much more better position than where you are. So how can we afford to waste any minute? There are seasons of learning and seasons of earning, and 20s is definitely for learning. So my simple advice is to stop scrolling around those reels and mind your own business. Always keep defeating your former self and start taking responsibility for your condition. My next advice is focus and stop hopping around. I remember that after my college, the very first large-scale business that I started was a restaurant business, a small food joint at my hometown. I started it with an idea of having every possible option a customer wants to be available on the menu. And to tell you the truth, it was a disaster. The only thing that we kept doing was firefighting operational issues to arrange some or the other stuff. And that's when I learned another important lesson of my life. I was doing too many things, and you can only be great at very few things. So had it been just a Chinese cafe or a continental cafe, I could have easily managed the operations and inventory in my starting days. Have you watched the famous Bollywood movie Lakshya? How Hrithik Roshan keeps jumping aimlessly from one profession to other, copying exactly whatever his friend is doing. But finally, he decides that the only task he will be doing is joining Indian Army, and then he was a big success. So same thing is happening with most of us. We keep hopping. One day we try to become a YouTuber, the other day a banker, and then again a photographer. We start something and then we quit to move to next, ultimately being stuck at one same position, moving nowhere, right? Why do you think you are not great yet? Why you are constantly failing in everything you are trying to do? Well, because you have not yet done anything which qualifies to be called as a long term. You must have heard that 10,000 hours rules in the famous book Mastery. But I say that even if you can do something for 1000 hours, the amount of knowledge you can gain will be tremendous. So stop hopping around from one thing to another rather than giving silly excuse of finding your passion. Work hard and build it. And my next advice is stop wearing so many masks. Be authentic. Now this is the biggest advice I would like to give my younger self, and it's related to your friends, your relatives and colleagues. Everyone in this world is self-centered, and it's just the radius that is different. As the famous saying goes, you're the average of 5% you spend your most time with. And hence, if you choose to spend time with wrong people, you will definitely regret in the near future. So let me give you a trick on how you should choose your friends. Keep the ones who only talk about the future and cut the ones talking about the past. In simple, keep the ones who talk ideas and cut the ones who talk people. Observe consciously the people around you. See if you are becoming any better with these friends and partners around you. And be quick to move forward if you find this red flag. Everything in life comes with its own terms and conditions. Don't blindly click on I agree. Be selfish with your time and stop saying yes to everything and everyone. I know it will be difficult to do, but it is most important to find your best crew. The next biggest advice is embrace failure, risk and uncertainty. Every failure brings in some valuable lesson. Have you heard those famous stories of how great business people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, they all failed and came to zero, restarted and then zoomed to new heights again? When they were zero, so were you. So how they managed to rebuild that thing so easily while you remained there? Well, because with every failure, they became wiser and better. They learned what not to do and precious lesson of managing their failure. So why does most people fear the failure? Why do they don't take risks? It's because they are not able to handle the uncertainties that come with such risks. They have been conditioned to do dead-end jobs where they learn nothing and keeps getting paid only for being present in office. And once they take risk of entering a business, they only get paid for the actual work they do, not for just being present there or pretending to work. So my advice to younger self is to embrace risk. Be the output of your work. Biggest success in life comes from the moments of uncertainty. Unlearn the wrong things dragging you behind. Don't rush for immediate gratification and build that success on steps of failure. The sooner you grow, the better. And my last advice would be think straight and never quit. As per Harper study, 90% of people are living with some major regrets in their life. And to further confirm it, a PhD holder, Ryan Camilleri, says in an article of Psychology Today that the most enduring regrets tend to be for actions not taken. Thus, your one action is worth more than hundreds of videos on self-motivation which you have been consuming absent-mindedly. Stop worrying about the smaller details and don't take life too seriously. Be wrong, fail, act dumb, but do not quit whatsoever. And if I were to give only one brutal advice to my younger self, it will be don't wait for the perfect moment. Make every moment perfect by acting now. So friends, these are the 7 brutal advices I would like to give to my younger, poorer self. But the question is, are you really willing to act on the advice today? Or wait for the next 10 years as I did? And yes, if you are someone in your 30s, 40s and even 50s, don't worry. As they say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago and the next best time is now. But we are humans, not statistics. So don't worry, and remember that the road to success is paved with actions taken today, not regrets from yesterday. So let's meet in the next video where we will see 5 things to avoid to stop wasting your life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned. See you soon in the next video.